Okay, welcome everyone to our March PTA meeting. We are going to go ahead and call this meeting to order at 7:04 p.m. And for our agenda tonight, we have our officers' reports, our icebreaker, committee updates, a word from Principal Johnson, unfinished and new business, and then our announcements and our closing. And we will start with Liz.
Minutes were sent out to members early. Did anyone have any amendments or changes that were needed? All right, those are approved as presented then. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Liz. Up next, I wanted to talk to everyone about our USD Strategic Planning Committee updates. So I was selected to be on the Strategic Planning Committee. We broke the work down into 4 sessions. So the first 2 sessions happened on February 8th and 9th. During those sessions, we were highlighting certain themes that we wanted to address. So it's in 4 chunks of work. So the first things that we were talking about was figuring out the general overview, what the committee's norms are, figuring out how we want to deal with classroom instruction and student learning. Then we talked about, at the second meeting, we were focused on school safety. We have 2 more meetings that are coming up that are going to be on the 22nd and the 23rd of this month. So if you guys have any issues that you want to bring to the table, any concerns that you'd like to have brought to the committee, ultimately you can email the info email address and put in the subject line strategic planning. They are going to roll out the new strategic plan on a whole website. So all of the information will be accessible, so you can see kind of where we've landed on how we want to move forward with the district. Does anyone have any questions right now about that? Okay, hearing none, I just wanted to reiterate that we have 4 separate school districts that are up for school board seats that are up for election on April 5th. That's coming really quickly. We did have a primary prior to this election, and one of our own parents is currently on the ballot for District 1. So if anyone has any questions, it's Teresa Villar. She is on the ballot, so you can probably find her on the playground before or after class drop off. So does anyone have any questions about the upcoming election? Okay. Oh, the other districts that are up on the ballot are districts 3, 8, and 9. So it's 1, 3, 8, and 9 that you're voting on this upcoming election. Thank you. Up next, we have our guest speaker from Racine County Foster Care, and that's Debbie McGrain. I will give you the floor.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. So my name is Debbie McGrain, and I am the foster care coordinator for the Racine County Foster Care Program. Some of you may have spoken with or gotten a newsletter or some emails from my recruitment and retention specialist, Jessica Sheeler. I think she has been reaching out to all the schools and lots of different businesses and agencies around the community, just trying to network and get the word out about how important it is that Racine County continues to recruit and get people that are interested in becoming foster families and opening up their home to taking in foster children. So she got this invitation from you guys to kind of connect with and speak to your PTA. She had a prior engagement tonight, so she elected me to be here instead. So thanks for having me. And really our kind of campaign, a new campaign, what you're seeing here is the Keep Them Home, Racine County. About, I would say going on 2 years ago now, we had such a high number of kids coming into foster care and not enough homes locally within our Racine community to be able to take all those kids in, that we were finding we had to reach out to counties all around the state of Wisconsin to take foster kids. Sometimes this meant splitting up siblings and, you know, some kids going to Green Bay while others went to Rhinelander or wherever. And you can imagine how hard it is for kids not only to be removed from their family, but then if they're also having to leave their community and switch schools and make new friends and be separated from their siblings and whatnot, that's extremely traumatizing and hard. So about 2 years ago, we had a campaign called Bring Them Home, where we really tried to recruit more foster families to be able to bring some of those kids that were removed from Racine County and went to other counties. Let's at least bring them home back to Racine. Maybe they didn't make it back to their family quite yet, but they made it back to their community. And so now we've seen those numbers really decrease for how many kids that we've had to send out of our community. COVID has really kind of put a little damper on us being able to recruit more homes. And sadly, there's still the need and all the number of kids going into foster care. So our new campaign now is let's keep them home. Let's keep them in Racine County. So we're really just trying to get the word out about the need for foster families. So we're asking our schools, teachers, counselors, whatnot, see if you have it in your heart and you're able to open up your own home to become a foster parent, or at least help talk about it. Talking about it with other people and bringing awareness to it is just really important. And so we try to get out in the community to different just groups of people and try to talk about foster care and the need for it as much as we can. You know, as teachers in your schools, you're seeing kids, you probably have them in your classrooms, kids that are in foster care, and they're experiencing a lot of trauma, and we need homes. So that's really what I wanted to just chat with you about, is just having those conversations, just bringing it up to people. Are they aware of foster care? What does that mean? And we would be happy to come talk to people, talk to different groups. There's a lot of different ways. If people aren't able to open their home and be a foster parent, there's other ways that we can help and support foster families as well. So we just kind of wanted to get that out there, have people talk about it and be aware about it. And certainly we'd like to answer any questions that you might have. And I know Jess sent over an email with lots of information and flyers and frequently asked questions and all of that kind of stuff. So we're just asking schools to help get that information out and reach out to us if you want further information as well. So I guess if anybody has any questions, we can just go from there then.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
If to be a foster family, do you have to have a separate bedroom for the foster child? Because I have a 3-bedroom house and I have a boy and a girl, and they both have rooms with bunk beds. Could a foster child share a room with my current children?
Yep, great question. Yes, they could do that. Children up until the age of 6 could, like boys and girls, could share a bedroom up until the age of 6. But once they're 6, girls have to be separate from boys. And unless they're siblings, they each need to have their own bed. So bunk beds where they're in the same, 2 girls are in the same room, but they're in bunk beds, different beds, that would be totally fine.
Debbie, could you tell us a little bit about the process, the length of the process? So like.
Sure.
Okay.
So yeah, from the time of application, so kind of the first steps are you fill out an application, a background check disclosure form, a couple other little forms. You get that back to us. We would run those background checks. One of the next steps is to just come do an initial, what we call a walkthrough safety check of your home. just to kind of look at that space, like that previous question, that somebody just asked, just to get initial feeling of what the home is like. And if you have the space, if you have the bedroom space and whatnot. Then there's a bunch of training hours that need to be completed. And then once those training hours are completed, we assign a licensing worker that would start to work with you and collect a lot of information. It is pretty intrusive. We ask a whole lot about your social history, your family, your upbringing, your finances, your relationships, all that information. We compile that all in what we call a home study and make a determination if we feel that this family or couple or single person could be a safe and appropriate foster home. So from beginning to end with all of that, depending on your schedule and our schedule, I say on average, it's about a 3 to 4 month process. So it's nothing that happens real quick, but I would say average 3 to 4 months from beginning to end.
And then if you were looking at an age category of children that are really difficult to place, like where would you say is the age range like that you would need the most assistance if people were looking to learn and to do the process, and it would be of the greatest value to our community?
Sure, that's a great question. Our toughest, I would say, population age range to place is probably 12 to 18. It's those teenage years. Those are some of the kids that have experienced a lot of trauma. Sometimes they're experiencing mental health. Sometimes they're getting into that real kind of defiant age and could be committing crimes, and they're possibly had police contact and could have a delinquency charge kind of thing. So I would say it's some of those teenagers are the hardest ones. But not all of them. Just because they're a teenager doesn't mean they have all of that. There's some that are teenagers that have just experienced some trauma based on their family situation, mom and dad not being available to parent them, or mom and dad having their own mental health, or being in jail, being incarcerated, those kinds of things. A lot of people want the little ones, the little babies, the toddlers, the preschool kids. But a couple of years ago, when the opioid epidemic just really kind of came into play, we had a lot of families that really wanted the young kids, the little ones, and we were running out of foster homes for those young kids, newborn babies, because we were finding with that opioid epidemic, there were a lot of drug using moms during pregnancy and delivering babies. So all of our homes filled up, with a lot of those young ones that were affected by that. So it just kind of comes in spurts and changes frequently, but I would say the most difficult are those older teens.
Debbie, I have a quick question for you. I don't know if it's a quick question, but I guess in relation to what you just said, what are the supports that the foster children get? What are some examples of supports that they get to help them, navigate those issues, but also to help the foster families or the individuals fostering the children? What are some supports that they may get in order to handle those issues as they come?
Sure. So a lot of kids are in therapy. We set them up with therapists, mentors, depending on the level of the home, and there's kind of it's called a CANS assessment. It stands for Child and Adolescent Needs and Strengths Assessment. That kind of looks at all the trauma history they had and whatnot. So it kind of scores them what level they're at. And then foster homes can be leveled at or licensed at certain levels. A level 3 is basically what we call our treatment level foster home. So any child that's placed in a level 3 treatment home, they automatically get a treatment worker that meets with them weekly with the child and helps work on those mental health issues, social skills, and also gives a lot of support to the foster family too, helping them link to services and supports in the community. A lot of after hour calls that are, workers that are available for those after hour crisis situations. But all of them otherwise would have a therapist. There's always a case manager through the Division of Children and Families that's assigned to every child that's in foster care and works with the bio family. So there's a lot of people that are there to support the child and the foster family as a whole. Any other questions?
For families that aren't able to bring a child into their home, are there ways that we can help? How can we help without fostering a child ourselves?
Sure, that's a good question. A lot of foster families just need some of that support. Sometimes they need a break. So sometimes people that aren't able to be a full-fledged kind of foster family can sometimes be what we call kind of screened and certified to be a respite provider. So when foster families just need a break, they need to go out for a night, they need to go to a wedding on a Saturday night, and they need somebody to take the kids kind of thing. So providing respite on a kind of scheduled, need by need basis. Sometimes it's just offering to cook a meal for the foster family, or maybe help with providing school supplies, or they get reimbursed and they get payment for a lot of that stuff, but there's also just a lot of the extracurriculars that they don't always plan for. So I think a lot of just supporting foster families in that regard. Can you help with transportation here and there, maybe once in a while? We get a lot of donations of school books, blankets, hygiene items, pajamas, diapers, just all those kinds of things. We try to put together like little duffel bags. So when kids are coming into care, they can get a bag full of a blanket, pajamas, stuffed animal, some comfort items, just to kind of help with that transition and make them comfortable. So things like that. We also have a fund where if kids want to take up soccer lessons or music lessons or something like that, people donate money. So then we have that go into what we call our enrichment fund. So when kids want to get involved in those kind of extracurriculars, the foster parents don't always have to, pay that money. We can give them some money through that enrichment fund. We have like a birthday club right now where we're getting lots of donations. So when it's a foster child's birthday coming up, they actually get a birthday present and then a goodie bag that they can make their own cake and decorations and whatnot. And so their birthday is special to them. So there's a lot of different things like that we get donations for to help, kind of normalize their life for them and help them be able to participate in those kinds of events. Anything else?
Go ahead, Colin.
How many kids do you got on the waiting list right now, foster kids?
Well, it kind of changes daily. I could say 0 in the morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by the afternoon, we might be looking for 4 different kids. And sometimes we get sibling groups where all of a sudden there's a situation at a home and we're getting a call that the police are there and one parent's going to jail and the other's, not being cooperative, and the kids need to get detained. And we might all of a sudden have a sibling set of 5 kids that we need to find placement for. So, it changes every day. Like right now, I do have a list of about 6 kids. They're all in a placement right now, but we're looking for a different placement. So where they are right now might not be the long-term resource that they're able to stay at. So we're looking for a different placement that's more fitting for them. And then we have some kids that are in a higher level of care. We have a couple kids that are in group homes or residential treatment centers right now that have done very well, and that's a higher level of care. So right now we're trying to find a foster home for them to step down into a less restrictive environment. So we're just trying to find that right family for them. So yeah, any given time, it's really different. We have somebody on call 24/7 that any time of night we could get a phone call that some situation just happened and we need a home for 4 kids. So it's just different all the time.
And one more thing, have you reached out for help for getting foster parents? Maybe the owner of the foster retail clothing store in Racine. Have you reached out to him?
Yeah. Yep. We work with him quite a bit. I'm blanking on his name right now.
I forgot his name. So
But I know,
he spoke to our Racine Men Church Club.
yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah. We're in meetings with him pretty frequently and we work together. I know he's a foster parent in Kenosha. Or had been in Kenosha. I'm not sure if they're still living in Kenosha or if they've moved to Racine, but yep, we know him very well and work with him.
Good.
Yeah.
So Alicia put in the chat, what is the average stay time for children with a foster family?
That can really vary quite regularly. I would say on average, I would say about 18 months maybe. But there's some that could be as quick as a month or 2, and some that we hope to reunify with their families, and sometimes families just aren't able to, I guess, do what they have to, what they need to do, or they just, their circumstances are that their own mental health or incarceration or whatnot, that they're not able to work on their reunification plans. So occasionally it will happen that parental rights are terminated, and then children then can be adopted out of foster care. So what we do in that situation is if the foster home that they're in is willing to be a long-term adoptive resource and it's been a good placement for them, that foster family then would be kind of the first one to be asked if they want to adopt those children. But sometimes working on that reunification plan, there's a lot of things that parents have to work on with themselves, with finances, with home stability, sometimes their mental health, drug and alcohol treatment, all those kinds of things come into play. So it really varies on how fast, families want to work at it and get their kids back. And some are able to quickly, some it takes a long time, and some aren't able to ever, unfortunately. But yeah, I would say on average, maybe 18 months.
Okay, well, thank you, Debbie. We appreciate you coming into our space and sharing your wealth of knowledge.
Well, thank you for having me so much. And you have our contact information. If anybody wants some further information or is interested, you can certainly reach out to either Jess or myself. We'd be happy to walk you through the process.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, up next is Nicole.
Evening, everybody. So for the treasurer's report, we started out last month with $4,005.18. We had expenditures for $1,359.99. We had income of $957.68. which brought our total balance to 3602.87. At this time, I'd like to call for a motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented.
This is Carolyn. I call for a motion to approve the report as presented.
Carmen, I noticed an error on the report. How do we handle getting that amended?
So
Do we
once,
need to vote down Carolyn's motion?
yes, so
Okay.
yeah, so once the motion started, we just voted down or say we would like amend.
Can somebody second?
And
Carolyn's motion?
actually, we don't even have to, if we don't second, her motion fails anyways. So if we just don't second it, it fails.
Don't do it, anybody.
No seconds.
It's an easy change, Nicole. I just noticed.
I was
the
going to
date.
say, I pulled it up on my screen because it's like, okay, what did I do wrong?
No, it's just, I noticed the date up at the top. We've got February or January 2021, I think, instead of 22.
Did I really do that on my? Yeah, I did.
Oh, no.
I did.
It's
I
okay.
absolutely did.
It went
Okay.
through a lot of eyeballs and I only noticed it by a fluke, so.
I did. I was like, I know my math is right. Pardon me. Okay, so you're right. It did. So we need to. So how does this work? I've never messed up before, Carmen.
It's all good. So all you have to do is say, you make a motion to approve with the amendment that Liz made.
Okay, so at this time, I'd like to call for a motion to approve the amended treasurer's report for January 1st of 2022 on the treasurer's report.
I make a motion to approve it with the amendment.
And I second that.
Thank you, ladies. At this time, does anybody have any questions? Okay, then I'd like in the chat, if you can write aye for yes, nay for no, or you can abstain, please.
I think we did pretty good if we made it this long without having to amend one. So look at it on the bright side.
I need to upload.
Motion is approved.
Correct one into Drive. Okay. I will do that today. So that brings us to the greenhouse CD that did fully mature. So we have moved it over into its own savings account out of the CD now. And it'll sit there until the new administration takes over and decides at that point what to do with it, because we don't want to tie that money anymore at this point, not knowing what it is the future wants to do with it. Does anybody have any questions on the greenhouse CD? Okay, great. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. All right. Up next is our icebreaker. So we are getting ready to hopefully entertain spring coming into our lives. So for today's breakout rooms, we'll be in them for 7 minutes. Asking the question is, what are you most looking forward to this spring? Okay, let's open these rooms. All right, welcome back, everyone. We're back in the space. So we're on to our committee reports. Jacqueline could not be here tonight, so she wanted me to share out her report. And so what she's asking for is one for teacher appreciation. We currently have in the Facebook group for the parent caregivers, we have a link to help support our teachers during their early release days. So if people are looking to give back in ways, that's a really good motivation. We're doing snacks and drinks to try to give some relief while they're there on those days when our kiddos are not. Additionally, for Teacher Appreciation Week in May, we are looking to get donations. Hopefully we can get some maybe donations from some families that have family-owned businesses to add to the goodies that we're giving out to the teachers. And we're looking for volunteers that could take shifts for the lunch period, like being in the lunchroom with the kids and doing recess duty so that the teachers don't have to do that during their special week. So if you are interested in giving back in those ways, again, there's a sign-in link for the snacks in the parent caregiver page, and then you can reach out directly to the info email again and say teacher appreciation and list what business you would like to make a donation from, or if what days during the first week in May you're willing to be a volunteer. Thank you. Next up is Liz.
Just a reminder about the website and mailing list. If you aren't currently receiving the school newsletter through Infinite Campus, please put your email into the chat and we'd be happy to get you on there so you can keep up to date on everything that's happening in the school and with the PTA.
Thank you, Liz. Also, Kelly couldn't be here today, so I am going to make the presentation for community involvement. So right now we have an ongoing donation we're giving to Empty Bowls Racine. The link is in the chat if you are willing to make a donation. We have a goal of $250. We will be presenting that check at the event. This does support hunger relief in our community, directly in our community. So we would greatly appreciate that. A lot of people are going through food insecurities right now. So it's a great cause. It's an annual event. If you don't have the ability to give to the donation link, absolutely try to go to the event on the 13th and support in that way. The soups are amazing. The chefs that come in and do it are great. A lot of the bowls are auctioned off and sold and made by some really cool artists. So it's a really great cause. So we're glad to support this year. Does anyone have any questions? Next up, we have family involvement. And I think Nicole's gonna talk about Smart Talks and Stephanie couldn't make it tonight.
So we had our Smart Talk event this past weekend. We had 25 students register. We had 16 show up to our live event. We had several more that did it at home with their parents instead. So we're very excited. It went really well. We are doing a drawing for Amazon Fire tablets. So if you're still interested and you didn't get registered, but you'd like the materials so that you can do it at home and still do the survey, go ahead and just email us at our info email and we can get those materials sent over to you so that you can still do it. We still have a couple more days. We are asking that you get it done and your survey complete by 3/9 so that we can do our drawing on 3/11. And we will announce those winners in our mid-month email. And then you'll be able to pick up the tablets if you're one of the lucky winners at our April hybrid meeting on April 7th. And that's all I have for that.
All right, thank you, Nicole. Starting in April, we will be doing our scavenger hunt / virtual book walk at the end of the month event, and this year's theme is the seasons, so we will be highlighting a different season every week of the month of April. So be on the lookout. Remember how you were searching for QR codes around the school, so we can do that with our kiddos, and then at the end you will be able to walk the book. And it was really cool last year. I know the kids really enjoyed it, so I hope you guys will participate this year as well. Thank you. And Nicole, will you present on Missy?
Okay, so we did complete our Packers playoff sweepstakes. We ended up getting a check for $222.50. That's already been deposited. Then for Chipotle's, we ended up raising $333.15. And again, that's already been deposited. With Rocket Wash, our final total was $866.50. We did give them their half of it, so we're waiting for them to process that, and then I will go pick those up as soon as they're available, and we'll start sending those out in either backpacks, or if you've chosen to have them mailed to you, I will get them mailed out as soon as I get them. Penny Wars is coming up again, so send that change with your kids to school. It's going to be March 7th through the 11th. And I don't know, Carmen, where did they say the buckets were going to be? At the office? I don't know, the buckets will be at the school someplace.
Yeah, they're in the office.
Okay. Bingo night, it's going to be March 19th, and we're going to do that in conjunction with Wells Brothers. We did hear back from Wells Brothers. They're going to run, the fundraiser runs from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. on the 19th, and we're going to get 10% of that profit back that they make. So get out there and buy some pizza. And for kids, it's $15. It's on our member hub. For you to buy tickets, it's 5 rounds for $15 per kid. And my son is actually going to be hosting. So if you guys joined us last year, you saw how fun it was for him. So join us again for that. Does anybody have any questions?
I think you should clarify Rocket Wash again, because it made it sound like we're getting half of the 800.
No. We made $866.50. That was our half of the Rocket Wash funds. Sorry.
It's okay.
Our cost. We were going for 500. We made $866.50. That was our cut. That's what we brought home. That's what's in our bank right now. Yay. Yes,
Karen, there is a theme for bingo night. It is spring into March. It is a St. Patty's Day / spring event. So hopefully people will wear their green and be ready to get.
And if you haven't gone, Dollar Tree has some great kids decorative things for them to wear for St. Patrick's Day right now. For really cheap.
Thank you. Up next is Alicia with grants.
Yes, hello everyone. So for the Wild Ones update, we unfortunately were not selected for that grant. However, I definitely would like to keep it on the back burner to reapply next year once we have a more clear view of what our greenhouse is going to look like. So that will be another grant we'll apply for in the future. Any questions on that? Awesome.
Thank you. Up next is Carolyn with membership.
Surely. So as you can see, the Watchdogs launch party has been rescheduled to Friday, April 1st. It'll be at Enfusino's, which was the same location as before. Believe that we're going to be meeting at 5:30, or at least kind of kicking things off at 5:30. And there'll be more information coming your way, but just definitely mark that evening on April 1st on your calendars.
Thank you. Robin couldn't be here tonight, so I just want to give her update on the February Art Club. That was a really great attended event. We had, I think, about 16 kids that showed up, and we did sculptures. So the kids made some really cool sculptures, and they actually had real marble for the bases of their sculptures. So be on the lookout for photos of that fun event on our website or in the future. So thank you everyone that participated. Up next is Greenhouse with Carrie.
All right, so things are moving along. The students met with our head of buildings and grounds and a guy who from the district who specializes in the playgrounds basically. So they presented designs to him. The two here are actually both from the same student group, and then there's another design too. So there's actually 3 designs that they are finalizing. So they got some good tips on how to tweak their designs. I also was able to talk really specifically with them about what the district will do and what we would have to do. A lot of it's just going to depend on which design is picked. So in terms of the timeline, I asked the students to have their models ready in the next couple of weeks so we can just get them to the school, even if they're still putting on finishing and touches and things. It'll be pretty much finalized and fine to vote by then, because we're going to have to obviously fundraise and really push for that, the materials that we're gonna need based on the design that we have. Some of them, like the ones you see here, are the like the simpler ones. If the students vote on another one, we're gonna probably have to involve some of our construction students to actually build some elements, and it's gonna be definitely pricier. So kind of leaning towards these two. So that's kind of where we're at with that. The goal is we registered through the PTA to have, tentatively it's going to be set for April 30th, where we would have a day where just any volunteers from the community and families or whoever wants to just assemble everything. Basically the district by then would have the wood chips in and like the foundations put in through cement, and all we would have to do is just like add on the pieces. So it shouldn't be super complicated, and it'll just kind of be a fun event to just get it all, you know, finalized. So that's the goal. So as soon as we have that design voted on, we'll do a big fundraising push for the specific materials that we would need then. And then there's going to be some more press on Monday well, we're supposed to log in at 8:30, so it's probably going to be slightly after 8:30, but CBS 58 wants to interview the engineering teacher and her one of the students who's kind of leading really things. And so they're going to be interviewed live on whatever talk show. I don't really watch CBS 58, but whatever talk show is on that morning. So that'll be something that you can tune into. Spectrum also covered the event, so they're going to be putting out their story really soon too. So we'll have several marketing links that we can share out. I know I tried to share the fundraising link too, and in the CBS one, they didn't share it in their news story. They cut out a lot of stuff. But I think Spectrum will, because he really paid attention and wrote down the website link and all this stuff. So I'm hoping that that gets into the news story so people know how to donate towards it. Otherwise, we can just use the links for our own marketing and ask, you know, people to donate them. I think that's everything. If there's any questions, Colin?
I think the CBS 58 show that you was talking about, it's Racine and Me that they do in the community, CBS.
Oh, okay.
58.
That's the morning show. That's what it's called.
Yeah, I think it's on a Sunday morning, maybe.
This is going to be on Monday morning.
Oh, Monday morning.
They
All right.
asked us to zoom in at 8:30, so I'm guessing
Oh.
they'll probably be on a little bit after that.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Thank
Just so you know, in the design too, what they're looking at is like there's planters. They're still working on the design for it, but planters for plants. And then the other part of the fence is like a sensory thing where it's gonna be like pots and pans and different things that they can like bang on or whatever. So just if you're wondering what that was.
Thank you. And the link for the donation link is in the chat right now as we speak. So thank you guys. Next up is Masquerade with Angel and Miss Honey.
Hello. So our Masquerade is in full swing. We are busy at work. There was a miscommunication with Infocinos and they had us down for Saturday, May 7th instead of Friday, May 6th, as we initially planned and thought it would be. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise. So now our new date is Saturday, May 7th. This image should be going out soon. If it hasn't already, I'm not sure. I don't think it has, but that's going to be shared shortly. So that's our big update. Otherwise, like I said, we're just really trying to finalize donations at this point. You know, we have, as long as everybody actually commits to what they said, we have about 40 right now, and then we're donations, and then our classroom baskets will add to that, and we are still working on more. So we should have a really great you know, list of auction items. There's a lot of fun ones. Most of them I'd say about a good 60% of them are things to do with your family. So I think it's going to be a really good time. We're currently looking for a DJ. So if you have any suggestions, have any personal connections, feel free to reach out to me or Miss Ami. We are definitely trying to get some quotes so that we can have the best time on a budget. And yeah, any questions? All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, Angel. Next up is nominating. So we are in full swing on our nominations, which will be presented to the PTA next month. Hopefully we can, fingers crossed, find a new president. We are in danger of not having a PTA going forward if we do not have a president. So if you know someone or if you're willing to take on the charge, you can change everything that we're doing now. You can do none of it, you can do some of it, you can do all of it, but we just need a new lead. We have had expressed interest in all of the other positions, but obviously without a president, there is no PTA. That is one of the required positions that we have to have. So if you have any interest, I am here to answer all of your questions. I can help you with the transition, and I will always be a resource. I will still be actively involved in the PTA, but that is the last position that we absolutely need to have nominated next month if we want to continue the work that we're doing now. And it would be sad for us not to have this resource. So I hope that someone will step up and take on that role. Does anyone have any questions about being president? Next up is word from Principal Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. All right, so we are excited about our Parent Ed Night, which is that next week already? Yes, next Thursday at 6 o'clock. So Miss Mary Ann was at a reading conference, I think a few months ago, and she listened to one of Roxy's presentations, and she said, hey, maybe she'll do one for us. And she really enjoyed it. And so we're excited to have Miss Roxy Etta present our Parent Ed Night Building Brains with Books, which ties in very nice with our 21-day reading challenge for March. So yep, so that 21-day reading challenge, Miss Mary Ann, our Grace and Courtesy and Community Committee put together. Really, Mary Ann and Danette did a lot of work with that. We do have volunteers coming in daily, and Miss Mary Ann has set up some classroom ambassadors to come down and greet the readers and bring them to their class. So it's really been a great event so far, and we hope to do it every March. We picked one virtue for March just because we have a lot of stuff going on. So I believe that is excellence. So we are excited about that. Mascot update, we are going to concentrate that in April, since we have this reading challenge, and some students and classes have already been thinking about it and talking about it. And I think that'll be sort of a classroom-led project where students can sort of collaborate and think about some interesting mascots going forward for our school. So we're looking forward to that. All right, Montessori morning will be the role of the teacher. And I also added, I think I'm going to do a couple slides on the role of the parent as well, just because, it'll be more interesting for parents to tune into that. Also, we are in full swing for planning for the forward exam. We have Miss Natalia and Mrs. Brooks, our RTI staff member, giving sort of technology and test taking tips to our third years. I think they finished today with our third years, and I think next week they start with our fourth years. And so the teachers have expressed some gratitude and really, you know, how well thought out the presentation was. You know, they have directions for the students. They get their Chromebooks out and, you know, have them follow a certain set of directions and just give them some test taking tips. So to ease, you know, for the third years, this is their first big test besides MAP, and it's quite more intensive than the MAP test. And so we have appreciated that. And I'm working on the forward schedule with Krista. I started that yesterday. And so hopefully I'll be sending that out in like a Wednesday wireless to, and of course, teachers will be letting parents know when we're forward testing. So. Also, I was going to add something else, but just a thank you to Carrie. It was really exciting going to Case, first of all, to get out of the building. It's like, oh my gosh, I get to leave on a work day. So that was fun. And also going to a high school, which I'm not used to at all. But the students had some really great designs and I was excited about it. So I'm looking forward to a playground in spring. So it's exciting.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Principal Johnson? Okay. Hearing none, we have no unfinished business. Oh, Colin, you have your hand up. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Colin.
I have one question for Principal Johnson. I seen the new sign. Was it supposed to be a digital sign or?
I'm so sorry. The most exciting thing happened yesterday. We got our sign. It was not going to be digital. So we did not plan for digital. They just literally took the sign out, took it to the shop and sort of refurbished it, gave it a nice facelift and painted it and put our logo on it. And so no, it was not ever intended to be digital. But I think it looks really nice. We put a clever message on there today because I had to.
The sign logo really looks very nice.
It does. We're happy about it. Yeah, and I'm sure you saw the sign on sort of the gym building facing Ohio Street. And so that's exciting too, because I think that can get a lot of looks from, you know, especially people on the sledding hill in winter and using the park and such. And so, yeah, it was an exciting day to get our sign. Slowly but surely, this building is turning into our own space, and we are excited about that. But yes, thank you for reminding me about the sign.
Thank you. There is no unfinished business, so I'm asking, does anyone have any new business they'd like to see on the agenda for next month? Okay, hearing none, we are on to our announcements portion. So the biggest things is we have our hybrid meeting. Yay! Next month will be in person in the library. We will also be streaming in online for those who can't make it into the building or have childcare issues. We are currently in the midst of our Empty Bowls donation drive, which will end next week, Friday. We have our Parent Ed Night coming up next week, Thursday. And obviously the Montessori mornings, which will be that following Thursday, and then our kids bingo night on Saturday the 19th, paired with our restaurant night at Wells Brothers. So all of our meetings are linked into the agenda. So if you are interested in any of the committees and taking part, the links are directly in the agenda, so you can pull those up. And it's now just our closing. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Since we've exhausted our agenda, we don't even have to vote on it. Thank you, ladies and gents, for joining us tonight. Appreciate your attendance. Have a nice evening.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.